Awesome. I'm so happy to have you on the stream. This has been a long time coming. Let's get this out of the way. FCA, is it live? Is it all sorted?
It's all sorted. Yeah, it's a stressful day yesterday, but it's all sorted. You can check the FCA register now and see it. So yeah, so it's all done.
What does this mean in terms of like why is this such a pivotal moment for the company?
It's just a number of things. Mainly, it's a bit of freedom. So now we had an amazing principal before, but now we can kind of stand on our own 2 feet, build our own relationships with insurers, have our own account managers and stuff like that. So it's really helpful for us to drive the best outcomes for customers. A big part of our future vision is to build out our own products. So being a broker is great for distribution, but if we actually want to change the products that we can distribute in the market, we need to stand on our own 2 feet there as well. So those are kind of the main bits, and we can do more stuff with marketing because technically we had to have all of our marketing signed off by our principal, but now we can market ourselves. So yeah, there's some interest coming in the future.
Jake can pick his podcast slots. He can do the Bloombergs and the TVPNs of the world today. He can do ventures and ETN and scaling Europe. I think it's awesome for you. Congratulations.
No, thank you. And it was a really big moment. It was a lot of hard work for the team. There's like hundreds and hundreds and hundreds of pages of documents created and forms filled out, and
how much of that was done by AI, or was this a very manual process?
It's a very manual process. There's certain bits of AI that can help you understand certain bits, and we had an amazing consultant as well from a company called ICS that were a huge help. So Chris there was an absolute lifesaver in getting all of that stuff ready.
I love it. Look, like I'd love a little bit of recap on Jake. We had your CEO on the show.
Yeah.
About 2 months ago, as you raised the $1 million. What's changed in that period of time aside from getting married?
So getting married, obviously the main thing. In that time, so now got authorized. That's another big thing. We've set up our own agency. So before we had agencies that were kind of tied to our principal. So we've set up our own agencies with insurers, which has been good. There's been a lot of changes into the platform. So we have kind of two sides to our platform. For those that don't know, Mesh is a commercial insurance broker. So we're building a full stack insurance broker. We're not using those platforms that are out there for traditional brokers because we don't want to be kind of limited by that SaaS providers innovation. We want to innovate ourselves. So there's been a lot of hard work done on our core platform, which has been really, really good. So seeing the time it takes Luca, one of our brokers, to broke is becoming a lot less, which is fantastic. We've done a real big push on marketing. So we're starting to bear the fruits of that. People coming up to us at events being like, hey, I know you guys, I've heard so much about you. We go into meetings with big insurers where they'd say, I'd never normally take a meeting with a company of your size. But I've seen everything you're doing. It seems really exciting. I'd love to know more. So yeah, that's been really exciting.
I love it. All right, there's a couple of different things I want to get into. Primarily around like, how do you think about like scaling this from where we are today, both the team internally? We had Josh Goldman on from Veed, who's COO over there. And he was talking about the implementation of AI, building his own tools within the team and like really giving people agency to go and like increase their productivity gains. Do you think about it a similar way?
Yeah, so what we do is we have a hackathon every month, which is kind of my favorite.
What, internally at the company?
Internally at the company.
Get out of here.
Yeah, we have an internal hackathon every month, which is my favorite time of the month. And basically what we can do in there is we'll pick a theme. So sometimes it'll be marketing, sometimes it'll be data. Let's use marketing as an example. Like we can use a tool like Veed.io, so someone can go around and play with that. Someone might play around with Nano Banana, someone might go and play around with Klaviyo. And then what we do is we spend a whole day, cancel all meetings. And then what we'll do is on the Monday, we'll kind of pitch back what we did. So it's really interesting to see people make product videos or like AI street interview style stuff. So that's been really helpful. And then we have done some hackathons around that where it's about shaving time off. So people kind of use a Replit or a Lovable or something to build something small and like a little prototype that they think would save them time in the job that they do day to day. And then a lot of that stuff we've productionized. So then Mike and Vince will take some of the stuff that maybe has been built and be like, that's really cool that you've kind of done that. And then we'll kind of rebuild what they've done for that solution into our actual platform, which is pretty cool because you have people that have never used any kind of coding tools that sat there using Replit building, something really interesting. So yeah, it's quite fun.
What's your favorite thing that's been built so far
Out of a hackathon,
out of a hackathon?
I think the favorite thing was Luca, one of our brokers. We did one that was kind of separate, and we built it was like a football booking platform. So when this was like just to use the tools. So watching someone that had never been in a code base before, never done any kind of like product work, building out literally like with a Stripe integration, a platform where you and your mates are doing five-a-side and you need to book a Power League pitch, can collect the money within the platform and then book the pitch. So that was pretty cool to watch someone go from like an idea that they had in their head all the way to actually we had one user that we managed to convince to use it. So that was pretty cool.
That's pretty cool. Like, so the hackathons aren't always just like focused on the company and like building tools internally. It's like, let's give you exposure to something that will be useful in your life, hoping that it spawns an idea that they then go and build themselves.
Yeah, because sometimes it's like like if you want to think of a problem, it's easier to think instead of thinking of insurance. Like if you open it up to the whole world of problems, then you start to use the tools to solve that problem, and then it's easier to come back from that and think, oh, actually, yeah, next time I want to try and show Mike something, I could maybe play around with one of these tools. So yeah, it's not always necessarily specifically something to do with insurance or to do with mesh. It could be something. It could be something wider.
You mentioned distribution a bit earlier, and I would love your thoughts on distribution today in the context of what you're building at Meshed. How do you think about distribution?
So we think of distribution in a number of different ways. So our key areas with partnerships. So we've got some amazing partners, kind of in the professional services space, which we kind of get a lot of customers from. So that's really cool. We are doing I'm doing a lot of founder stuff. So I get go to a lot of founder events, speak to a lot of founders. And then people are just interested to like help out or test the product or get a new type of insurance. So then that's been quite good on kind of the founder-led sales side of things. And we can kind of, after a while, especially with the kind of the partnerships piece, start to build out what's called insurance books of business. So let's say we start getting introduced to loads of gyms, right? We can suddenly say, okay, we've got loads of gyms, fantastic. We can then look at what data gyms have, right? If you go to like a pure gym or whatever, the app tells you how many people are in there. This is actually really interesting underwriting data. So if we start to build a big book of business in gyms, we can kind of start taking this underwriting data to our underwriting partners and our insurers, like one of our investors at Aviva or AXA, who we've been speaking to on some bits as well. Then we can kind of say, look, we want to build a product specifically for gyms. You've traditionally got this kind of information from brokers on a PDF platform, whereas we can give you this live data. And then if you start to bring a product to market specifically for gyms and kind of go a level higher on what traditional schemes have kind of been from a data play, then you can take that back to the sales team and say, hey, sales team, look, we've got the best gym product that we believe in the market, and then they can go and distribute that. And then so you started building out small little pockets, and then suddenly you can triple down on those because you've got a superior product. And then your sales team go and do outbound and go and try and find all the gyms, and we start doing more gym content on TikTok or whatever.
It's basically like I love the term forward deployed. It feels like you are forward deployed insurance.
Yeah.
It's like having a very deep understanding of what that business does from first party data, being able to then go and build very specific types of tools for those particular businesses. So that the on ramp into using your product is significantly easier. Am I on the right train of thought?
Yeah, so it's funny. Product existed in insurance probably before it did in tech. So in insurance, you have an insurance product. So home's an insurance product, motor, fleet, cyber. Whereas, so yeah, we'll be creating those kind of products. Yes, there will be a digital element to that in our customer portal and how we surface that data to the customers in terms of under insurance. And that again is our product. So normally in insurance and insurtech companies, you have people say insurance product and product because product is like the more technical side of things. But yeah, definitely we'll be building those insurance products to distribute specifically to those customers.
Interesting. How do you how's the market right now? Do they seem to be coming inbound to you, or is there still a lot of like you having to shout about what you're doing, given that you're still very early stage? I know you mentioned that some of it's working, but holistically, how is it?
Yeah, we're getting more inbound, especially when there's bigger announcements like this. I've had meetings booked in my diary that have come in, so we do get inbound off that. But again, it's insurance is a very much a trust heavy industry. We're competing with brokers that have been in the market for some 100 years, right? So it is quite hard. And on some of the larger risks that we've been quoting against, you can kind of feel that a bit of anxiety from the customer that, oh, you guys have literally been trading not even a year, right? We've been trading since April.
How do you build that trust if you're competing against someone that's been in the game, 150 years, 100 years? How do you help them understand that you are going to be a force of nature in this space for decades to come?
So we're trying to do that in kind of two ways, well, multiple ways at the moment. So a lot of the marketing we're doing at the moment is very much about brand awareness. Oh, they've seen Meshed here. They've seen, oh, that you were on that podcast with that person. Oh, you were here. I saw the content you did there. I saw you in that top 50 list. So we're really trying to build that piece out. Then that's why partnerships are quite helpful, because you're partnering with someone that already has that trust with that end customer and already has that relationship. So you're kind of leveraging that a little bit. And then also a big part of our business is we are an AI first business, but at the end of the day, the reason why we're going so heavily in that area is because so much of a broker's day is spent on admin. So we're looking to replace the time that a broker spends on admin, the tasks that they don't want to do, and then bringing that person back from repetitive admin tasks, then putting them back in front of the customer. And then again, if we're competing against bigger brokers that may have offshore some resources out to India and call centers out into other countries, we've got that leverage over them as well. So you always see a face. You've always got me or Mark or Luca or El to speak to.
How do you think about scaling the team out from where we are today? Is it high? What's the real bottleneck right now? Is it just having brokers? Is it having more engineers to build the platform out? Is it individuals that are going to help run ops, build the team? For you, what's the bottleneck?
For us right now, it's probably even more. We want to get a deeper knowledge in the broking side of things. I went to a great breakfast the other day.
What do you think of these founders breakfasts? I'm in two minds about them right now.
Yeah, Akash at Early Bird, he does a really good one because he just gets super smart people in a room. The most recent one was from two guys from Scale AI. They came in and kind of spoke about it, and everyone around the table is like a genius. So it's really interesting to learn from that. Like they always say, don't be the smartest person at the table. I'm definitely not when I go to those events.
What did you take away from that breakfast?
That there's a transition happening, especially within the large kind of model companies, where right now we're getting to a point where the public data has been pretty much exhausted, right? And for industries like banking or broking or insurance more broadly, that knowledge sits in people's minds. I've been in offices where someone will say, oh, what about this? And just turn and swivel around on their chair and ask someone, because that knowledge sits in people's minds. And I think that's why companies like OpenAI are hiring all of these bankers now, because they've exhausted the information that exists in like financial services that's on the internet, right? Or that they've kind of borrowed from some other places. Whereas there's so much knowledge that sits in people's minds. So I think the next phase for our hiring is to hire these really experienced brokers where we can start to kind of take a lot of that knowledge out and digitize a lot of that knowledge that they have across their 10, 20 years in the market, because we've got a real problem in insurance that we have like the largest percentage of people approaching retirement and the smallest amount of people coming into the space. So very rarely do people want to get into the world of insurance. And there's a lot.
Have you figured out why?
Most people find insurance boring, so that's probably why. It's not as sexy. It's not sold well. It can seem a bit boring, a bit legacy. So I think that is a bit of a blocker, and that's something that we will always try and change. So I do get excited. There's a kid that I follow on LinkedIn. He's like 17, and he's just got into insurance, and he loves it, and he's talking about it, and he writes loads about it, and he's trying to get more kind of Gen Z people into it. Just connected with a kid who's 15 in Sweden, trying to build Lagora for insurance companies. So that's another kind of useful person that's coming into the space.
What do you find interesting about it?
Insurance touches every single part of humanity. Like everything that you look at in a day was insured at one point in its life or is currently insured. So it's super interesting. If you like football, you could get into insurance around footballers, and if they get injured, or you could get into property insurance and look at the stadiums or the clubs and stuff like that. If you you could do their high net worth insurance. So I know some brokers that like know all the footballers because they insure all their houses and their cars and everything. If you like trains, you could become
A train insurer.
yeah, exactly. They looked at that. Same with yachts, same with boats, same with planes.
Do you have a
Um,
favorite thing
art.
that has been insured?
Yes, at my first company, we were a high net worth insurance company, so we got to see all of the amazing things that incredibly wealthy people decided to buy with their money. And there was a guy, and this was quite a funny day in the office. There was a guy who had, I think it was over £1 million classic movie poster collection.
Really?
So
Wow. Okay.
the original movies from like pretty much every, I think he had pretty much every single movie. It was like ridiculous. It was like thousands and thousands and thousands of posters. But then he had also recently bought one for like adult movies, from literally from like the 70s all the way to now. And he had all of these original posters, and it was his collection just for that was over about £150,000. But he sent over like an itemized Excel spreadsheet of all of the names of all of the posters. As you can imagine, there's some quite funny names in there, throughout all of the history. So that was quite funny.
Do you know what? My favorite one, if I can tell you, I've really got into space insurance and understanding the dynamics of that. Of like, how do you insure a rocket?
Yeah, it's again another really interesting side of things. But
It's
even
really
with
cool.
yeah, even with the AI now, like that, there's there's a lot of talk at the moment about people don't know how to price for AI companies because like now OpenAI are being sued, right, by different creators, and how do you mitigate against that? How do you price that? Because we don't have any kind of examples of that. So I think we will see a bit of a shift in like kind of the AI insurance space and pricing pretty soon as some of these court cases come to a head.
Just top of the dome and sort of like first thoughts and feelings around it. Like, how do you think about that? It's so prevalent to what you do in terms of pricing what these businesses do and pricing these products, I assume, but also it's going to impact everything that you touch. Thoughts?
On the AI side of things specifically,
Yeah.
yeah, it's like when cyber insurance first kind of came onto the scene, no one really knows how to price it. So everything you kind of have to have a bit of a shot in the dark, and then you wait for some of the
Right.
claims to come in. You've just got to be a bit reactive. So I think what the insurers will do is they will just be reactive to claims, keep an eye on the loss ratio, and I can see the pricing kind of jumping a little bit, and kind of I think cyber was mispriced at the start. I think it was a bit cheaper than it should have been. So I think they'll maybe take some learnings from what happened with cyber. But yeah, so maybe it might be priced a little bit higher now. But I feel like some people are pulling away from it because it seems like it could be more extreme, especially with I think like now being sued by someone because their child commits suicide, right? So there's a lot more like actual like extreme bits of that as opposed to just being like your company being ransomware, and they want 250 grand or whatever.
Do you think that there's going to be like two insurance products? One is a cybersecurity one, and then another one is like a data insurance product where you are insuring your proprietary data set so there are no leakages. And that way, if a model company is, or you're using one of these foundational model companies, you are protected against that data getting onto the web, and there's a payout if it does.
Yeah, maybe someone smart will come out of like a a lab and work with someone in insurance to build something like that, but it might just be quite hard to work out where did that come from, and how is it going into the models. Was it public, was it not public, did an employee themselves by accident or not by accident or not realize download a company document. I can't remember what it was. I think it was like a Samsung employee that put like some part of Samsung's code base into ChatGPT to us to help it debug, and then that's in there. Like there's quite a lot of like nuance of how this data can get into these providers that it might be quite challenging to in some kind of claim to work out how exactly it got there. And a lot of this stuff is fairly kind of black box, so people don't know, is the other thing. So I think it might be quite hard to do that. But I'd love to see someone try.
I think in time, right? It's just we've just got to wait it out. We're in this early stage of this new technology. Everyone's figuring out what goes wrong with it. I don't know about you, but I'm super glad that we've come into a world and these companies are shipping their products so transparently and openly, saying like, look, it's not great, but we want you to have access to this. I quite enjoy that.
Yeah, yeah. I I do. Yeah, I feel like some things do need to be a little bit restricted, but I feel like yeah, it's all fun and games until it isn't. I saw quite an interesting thing yesterday that was basically saying they have a belief that OpenAI are monitoring what companies use the most tokens because that shows where there's the most demand for AI, and then they look to then build those products themselves or use it as like an acquisition strategy. Because
Making that token Midas little token list was probably one of the most genius things, because I saw the same play. It was like it's masquerading as like these are the features, these are the products we can just go and build.
yeah, so yeah, I thought that was quite interesting.
It's funny how people are seeing this. Look, as we get into the end state of this segment, I'm sorry we don't have more time. We'll have to get you and the team on again. I've got to ask, if in about 3 sentences, can you explain insurance to me?
Risk transfer.
Okay, you did it in 2 words. Why is it risk transfer? Who's taking the onus of the risk? Is it the insurer, and that's why you pay the monthlies for it?
Yeah. So you have a risk to your business that you're going to get hacked by a hacker in a ransomware attack, and your customer data is going to be leaked. That's a risk that your business has. What you're saying is, okay, I will transfer that risk over from me because ransomware attacks, I think on average from the data that we get from some of our providers, around £250,000 at the moment. So let's say that's a risk to your business. You're transferring that £250,000 risk to your business to an insurer, and you might pay, I don't know, £1,500 a year for that. And then okay, fine, I've paid my £1,500, and then in 2 years you log on because one of your employees clicked on a link and bam, you're out. We want this money, or your whole data's gone. Then you're like, oh, that's annoying. Then you can go and speak to Onda or Coalition or whatever, and then they'll start the claims process, and they might even be able to get your systems back up and running because they've got like cybersecurity specialists, or in some instances, if it's legal in that country, then they might work to pay that ransomware claim. So you've transferred that risk from you and your business over to an insurance company.
One of the things I love to ask guests on the show, especially when they're founders, is who's on your Mount Rushmore of like the best founders ever in your perspective? For you, who are they?
Oh, good question. Best founders ever. I always say that, like, as Mesh is what Revolut did to banking, I want Mesh to do to insurance broking. So the Nick guy at Revolut is probably number 1 on my list.
He's an incredible individual. I haven't had him on the show, but in time.
Yeah. I think he's super intense, but I think that's good. Like, you need to be intense. But no, he seems really cool. And then obviously Revolut's really cool. They're our business bank, and they grow quite quickly and aggressively. So I like that. So that's probably my main one. Did I have to give 2?
It's 3 more. Mount Rushmore.
3 more. Oh God! In terms of founders, put me on the spot here. I think Ed from my first company, just because he's helped me quite a lot from Flock. So he's helped me quite a lot on this journey, which has been quite helpful. So I'll give him some props and put him in there. I think again Tom Bloomfield, is that his name, from Monzo?
Monzo.
I think that's pretty cool. And then probably the Nvidia guy Jensen, because obviously it's the biggest company in the world right now, isn't it? So.
Dude, this has been awesome. I'm sorry we don't have more time. I'm looking forward to doing it again. Maybe in person at some point. I'll come down to one of those insurance events and we can sit there and stream it.
No, 100%. Yeah, we're getting a new office.
Perfect. Is it in London or is it in Scotland?
It's going to be in London, yeah. It's going to be in London.
Look, I don't mind a bit of the Scottish Highlands.
Yeah. We could do one outdoors on the farm next door to Mark's house.
Perfect. Dude, this has been great. I'll see you soon.
Wicked, nice one. Cheers. See you later.